Begin. And the turn. Well, we are a hand trap deck. Besides the Mecha Fan and Beast Lion, Typhoon is gaining popularity. They need to have 2 spell trap cards in the back row. Otherwise, the Typhoon will not be activatable from the hand to wipe out a True Light. So in this instance, the Golem activating from the back row, you can't Typhoon that. But we do have the Ghost Ogre, another collateral damage hit onto every other deck that's not Blue Eyes. We have Imperm negate onto the Diablo Star Mate. If this searches and sets up for the Deception Sinful, it puts you in a situation where using your Imperm otherwise is not going to be that great. You don't want to be Imperming something like a Sylvia. It will just negate the Imperm. Now, we do have a Sneak Eye Ash in the back row, so on summon, that will trigger the Divine Temple, summon the Ash, which will not turn into a form of disruption. Our only real form of disruption is Impermanence and Call to the Grave if you count that, so 2. But do we even have a play? Is Olion Normal Summon a play? Show me the way. No, we're not summoning the Olion. It ain't happening. Okay, what? Bonfire up the top of the deck. 1-card combos are here. The Fool Loss will get fingered, but then we could chain the Fool Loss to the finger to dodge the first finger as the first one gets fingered still. Wow. We didn't even care to finger the Fool Loss. Because I think Morpho's just thinking maybe I'm not going to fully commit into it, or I just go in for a wham bam thank you ma'am. 1-turn kill. With the Divine Temple, we could easily get that 8,000 damage on the field. Yes, as we have Oak, that's it. Oak on Resolution is game. But we have Typhoon. Typhoon! Destroy the field spell, which is boosting up the field by so much damage. Wait, when are we gonna do it? Why is this not usable? Target, face up, destroy. 2 or more, and you control none. Why are you not doing it? What? Wait, why couldn't we Typhoon? Hold up. Did we forget to Typhoon? Huh? Typhoon. And then we don't lose. All right, Typhoon. We're saving Typhoon for game 2 and 3. We don't want them to play around it. We have identified that even with the Typhoon activation saving us from that battle phase, that we would lose that duel. And knowing that we would lose that duel, we do not want the opponent to know that we have Typhoon for game 2 and 3. That is why we did not use Typhoon. It was a strategy. What is good? Let's get to it. Wait, is this the same deck? Traeger. Oh, it's a 60-card deck. It's just 10 decks in one, sure. Allure Palace, huh? Searching for the Queen. Oh my Jesus. Chaos Allure Queen, discard, special summon itself onto the field. It looks like we did some nonsense here. What the heck? You could send a card from your hand to the graveyard, then special summon an Allure Queen from your deck to your opponent's side of the field? Huh? And then the Allure Queen is activating a paragraph. Target a monster in either graveyard, equip it to this card. Then, if you equipped a light or dark, you could special summon a Dark Allure Queen from your deck or graveyard. Let's get equipping, and then we have the Allure Queen level 7. Now we have Revolution Synchron, synchroing from the hand with the Beatbuster Drake into the Ancient Fairy Dragon. Beatbuster is going to search our deck for the Sea Wyvern as the Ancient Fairy wipes out the field spell, at least attempts to do so, to search the deck for another field spell as the Ash Blossom negates. What field spell were we searching for, mate? Were we going into Therion plays? Galaxy Tomahawk is here. Is the Allure Queen engine just to turbo out a Tomahawk? It's just rank 7 Exceeding? This is really better than just playing Kashtira? Thunder Dragon Colossus. Now you can't add cards from the deck to your hand, meaning the Deception is completely dead. Impermanence is completely dead. One of the biggest outs to a Colossus is an Impermanence to negate it. So how are we dealing with this? With not only the Colossus disallowing us from adding from the deck, but the Baron of Floor negating anything, the Dissipator being able to negate a monster effect. Now, I don't know if the Chaos Allure Queen and Field Spell is actually doing anything right now. Does it have any crazy continuous effects? I don't see it. Let me know in the chat, though. We have Maxi late to the party. We're going to use your Allure Queen against you by equipping your opponent's Allure Queen to ourselves to then just link off into a Moon of the Closed Heaven, into a Requiem. Mind you, we can negate any of this. Do we negate with the Dissipator mates, or we just allow them to summon the Engraver, which is now going to be threatening a monster on the field, as it could send the Requiem to send a monster on the field to the grave, Dissipator negate. Now, by using the Dissipator to negate, it ensures that the triple tactic sounds activatable and the Baron de Fleur will be able to negate it. As it activates to take control, and that is a negate. And with that said, we're now done. Dissipator on the negate does not destroy, so I think using it against the Requiem was possibly a better idea unless they had enough light tuners in the grave where they would just be reborning the engraver if they had access to one already. Otherwise, I think if the monster's dealing with itself, that is when you'd want to use the Dissipator since it doesn't destroy or banish. Begin. Poplar on summon, searching for our original Sinful. We're going to Fool Loss on the resolution there. Ash Blossom, negate, and just like that, we just have Super Poly. You want to have multiple different attributes so that the Super Poly is no good. And that's exactly what happened. It's now not very good. It's got 4 different attributes. The ideal scenario here, not getting max seed, holy moly, would be they summon Masquerena and we get Super Poly fused with the Sylvia and the Masquerena, but they still have a Desiree, they still have the Apollo, they still have Promethean. Now, if you go into a Mood Dragon, they can't use the Promethean Princess to target your monster, and that may be some sort of benefit here. Otherwise, we have the Assault Core plus the Destrudo, which could Black Rose the field if they were to not negate it, but why would they not negate it? They have negate, 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 Ash Blossom, Mate, and Promethean Princess. So much disruption to play through. Let's see if we can do it. Ash Blossom, negate the Max C. Apollio say, negate the negate. And now we're left with, at the moment, the Super Poly cannot be used. Not activatable. So we have to get them to even want to summon the Masquerena, which pretty much anything. Now, what really gets them to use Flame Burst early? If you can assure them that you're not going to imperm negate the Masquerena. So as soon as you commit a card onto the field, you could bet that they're going to summon that Masquerena so that you can now use your Super Poly. Masquerena activating. This is a good moment here. Now, you know they're going to go into a Little Knight. Would the Little Knight give us any other options into a Super Poly play? Maybe if the Little Knight were a light monster, maybe we would allow it to go through, but we know that's not the case, so let's just fuse them up. Fuse it. Come forth. Moo Dragon is here. Now, I stated that Moo Dragon would make it to the Prometheans not activatable. That would be if only the Moo Dragon were the only monster you control, because we can't target the Moo Dragon, but we could target the Assault Core, and we could turn the Moo Dragon into a light so that the Assault Core could not be targeted, but it's already being targeted, so it's too late. RIP. And I think we're done, right? Assault Core doesn't do anything in this moment. It adds another Union in your graveyard to your hand. I guess we still have the Destrudo, though. Destrudo is going to get negated by Apollo. Do we play Black Rose Dragon even? Would that even be a funny play to possibly go into? That's not even an option, but it would be funny to think about. Let's just go to battle then scoop. All right, well, at least Morpho never knew of the Typhoon that could have been. And the Typhoon maybe could have helped us here, actually. Typhoon could pop off the Desiree equip, but then the Desiree would have to negate it. But they're already negating the Promethean early. So I guess if you save the Typhoon for later in the turn, after they already used up their negate, you could at least knock off a negate off the Desiree. But Desiree wasn't even needed to win the duel. Let's go. Prime Might on summon, set the Lordy load from the deck into the back row. Load is going to be searching for our Drill Beam as we're now ready to get Beam and negate and banish anything mate. When do we plan on using that Fool Loss? Well, as soon as we know that they're going to commit to the extra deck, that's where we're going to whip it out. Now, they could have linked one already into a Spirit Dragon, but by keeping the Primite on field, what did we gain from doing that? You should learn this as a Blue Eyes player. If you keep the Primite Dragon on the field early, yeah, it can be helping you reveal more stuff to your opponent so that they're going to use their hand traps better, but you get the benefit of Drill Beam being recyclable by discarding it with the Wishes. Because I would say in most cases, it would be more ideal to try to trick an opponent to use Ash Blossom on a Spirit with Eyes of Blue. But if you know you're playing against a good player, you may as well just keep it on the field. You know they're going to Ash the Wishes anyway, and get a free discard by keeping the Primate on field. And Mausoleum would also be another option that they maybe would try to be using their Ash Blossom on, and just to try to trick them. We have Sage searching for Veiler as the maiden already set up the True Light. Let's Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragon, summon from the deck, and let's hit them with that double back-to-back Fua loss. Now, if we had a Call by the Grave, we probably would have used it on the first one, but if we held on to it and fingered the second one, it would have been a 2-for-1 special. And notice how we didn't draw here, because this Blue Eyes was summoned from the grave instead. We made sure to chain our Fua loss to an effect that summons from the deck, but then they didn't summon from the deck, because you don't tell them until the resolution. We're now going to Wishes equip onto the Blue Eyes, and we're just going to end, right? If we link off just once, they're going to get draw 2. So instead, let them -2 for what? You're going to summon a single monster that's 1 disruption, and they're going to draw 2? Probably not a good trade. And even by not summoning anything for the extra deck, this is what's insane about Blue Eyes. We still have negate and banish anything, negate a search, negate a monster on the field. We got triple disruption, and the opponent's starting off with 3 cards in hand. Let's see what happens here. We have Ash Blossom off the top of the deck. Prime Might Barrel is going to get negated and banished, and this is where we can make the big play of using Crossout Designate to negate the Drill Beam, possibly banishing our single and 1 copy from the deck. And that's exactly what we're doing. Are we playing more than 1? We're still going to add a Veiler on top of our Drill Beam. We're going to chain Spright Starter. Now, Starter is going to be a way that bridges into the Gigantic Spright, and a lot of people forget that the Gigantic Spright is a 2-way floodgate, meaning that if it resolves, the opponent cannot summon Blue Eyes White Dragon on the field through True Light. So you got to be careful to get your summons going right then and there. We have the Dominus Purge off of the blue, attempting to search the deck, negate, and it would destroy if we had a Trap in the Grave, which we do not. We now have Elf, which goes directly into Gigantic Spright, and we're out of disruption. We used the Beam, we used the Purge, we used our Veiler, and this is our last moment to chain the True Light to summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon if we had one in Grave, which we do not. And just like that, both players are locked into level, rank, and link 2 monsters. Jet's going to grab a starter, which we already used this turn, but we could use it on the opponent's turn as a form of disruption. Let's wipe them up as we further go into a Little Knight. Little Knight on summon, banish away the True Light, and the True Light has no way to come back to the field, graveyard, nothing. There is nothing that they play in the extra deck or main deck to recycle a banished True Light. That's it. It's gone. So you would hope that by the time that they banish your own True Light, that you have enough of an advantage where you don't need the True Light to win. And then there's also that benefit of True Light being banished. It doesn't work like the Fire King field spell where it wipes out all of your monsters. We have Barrel recycling itself, Little Knight chain banishing itself, plus the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now this is a temporary banish, but there is a way to get to a banished Blue Eyes, and that is through your Roar. But you can't recycle the Roar unless you have the new Blue Eyes Synchro. That's right, Blue Eyes is not at its full support yet. In fact, it's got about 2 different good synchros that could be coming out to make the deck a lot better. Not crazy better, but I'll say a bit better. We have Starter summoning for the deck a Jet. That is not a form of disruption. If we don't have another body in the field, we can't even turn the Starter into a form of disruption. Jet, wait, Starter's at 3? When did that happen? You what? This card was always semi-limited, huh? Oh, okay, Sage searching for the Veiler here. Jet is not limited either. It is limited, semi-limited. We're going to boost up the Sage, sending a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck to the grave, tribute itself to come forth and summon from the grave Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now, we could have summoned it in attack position, but we are planning on going into a Synchro possibly, or just fusing with the Roar. Roar and Grave going into a Tyrant Dragon. Tyrant Dragon can recycle an in-grave trap, thus the True Light is not going to be recyclable, as the Ash negates the Wishes, attempting to search for 2 cards here. Negate. Now, recycling the Purge is pretty good, right? That's all we have in Grave to recycle. We do have Purge for recycling. If you're a Blue Eyes player, you have Imperm and Veiler in hand, do prioritize your Imperm over the Veiler so that you do have the option to go into a Tyrant Dragon, recycle your Impermanence to gain an additional disruption. And just like that, lethal damage, Spright, Primite losing just a Game 1 duel. We're going to hop into Game 2, where hopefully we're going to see more of some crazy Spright plays, ideally where, you know, they're going first and not bricking. Begin. Primite Roar is attempting to summon a Slime Toad onto the field. We're going to chain Spright starter. So eating their Ash with a Primite Roar, if that were the effect alone, then that's good enough. That's great. As we can now, without disruption, summon our blue, search our deck. We do have impermanence though. Imperm, negate. Drill Beam, mate, no. Chain another Imperm, right? You could chain another Veiler. Well, you can't Imperm with an Imperm because the Imperm is blocking the Imperm. Now, thankfully, the Imperm will still be good and usable on a Jet or a Gigantic Spright. Do get ready for that. We still have our normal summon Toad. Come forth and summon the Jet. Jet, search for the starter. There is a problem if you wait to use your Imperm. I know a lot of you are thinking, DK, the choke point is Gigantic Spright. You just save for Gigantic Spright. That's all I know. Negate this card. Well, you may be thinking Ash Blossom is going to definitely be able to negate this card, but not in permanence. Because if they set up with Spright Elf and then put the Gigantic Spright behind it, the Gigantic Spright now can't be targeted. So now, knowing that that potentially is being set up here, we're just going to Imperm negate the Spright Elf instead of the Toad being summoned, going into an untargetable Gigantic Spright. But we could still Gigantic Spright. Summon Toad and make a Gigantic Spright with it, right? Why? I guess we want to ensure the Drill Beam will be activatable. By keeping the Toad in hand, only then can we use the Drill Beam. So we're just going to chill. We're going to wait, we're going to negate, get ready, mate. Spright starter, summon from the deck, a carrot. We now can negate a spell trap card. Now, with them only having 2 other cards in the hand, the variables of it normally being 4 other cards in the hand, which could be another Sage, a Maiden, a Wishes. That's 9 different, 8 cards that is, that could already be in the hand on the activation of the Sage, which would make negating the Sage not be a good play because they could go into a link 1 to then additional summon the Sage. The thing is, that's only if you're negating and then keeping the Sage on field. If your negate includes banishing it or destroying the monster, now the Sage that could additionally be in the hand is no good. And it only turns into the other 2 cards having to be a Wishes or a Maiden, where this negate may not be ideal. We are going to first activate Spright Elf, and then we're going to hit them with the Drill Beam. I want you to understand the nuance here of activating Spright Elf. If you activate Spright Elf, the opponent's field will only light up if they have a quick play spell in the hand activatable. So just by activating that, that does give you information. Even if they had a called by and they chose to not use it, their field would light up telling you they got something activatable. Negate and banish. Now, unfortunately, by trying to be cool and check for their light, we just turned on Triple Tactics Talent, where otherwise it would have not been activatable, but we do have Carrot to negate to play around that mate, so we want to trick the Carrot, which we successfully did, into negating something that's not the Triple Tactics Talent. Got him. What was that going to even be good for? Summon a Blue Eyes on the field, then what? Okay. Wow, we're, yep, we draw 2, can't stop it, but we have no Ash. We do have the Lordy Load, but we already committed to a normal summon. There's no way to additionally summon the Primite Dragon onto the field. So we're going to summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck and then pass. We do have just the Purge. Purge will negate and destroy. Summon Toad into surrender. Holy shite. I don't think that has ever happened in the existence of Yu-Gi-Oh! Playground Yu-Gi-Oh! Up to 25 years of Yu-Gi-Oh! Nothing has ever resulted in normal summon Toad, opponent surrenders. Absolute insanity. Let's go. Lordy Load for our opener play, grabbing a barrel from the deck. Barrel is going to be the ideal play to summon over a Sage always, because it can bridge into normal summoning the Sage. The Sage cannot bridge into normal summoning the Barrel. We are going to be discarding, get search in after the Fool Loss has been used. We can just summon from the graveyard instead of from the deck. And one of the ways to do that is using the Barrel effect to get a Blue Eyes Engrave and then summoning it with your Roar so that they don't draw off the Fool Loss. Now, off of that play, how many forms of disruption are there? We have Drill Beam, which will negate and banish, but only if the True Light successfully resolves to reborn the Blue Eyes White Dragon from Engrave. We have Majesty to pop 1 card in the field. We have Double Veiler. What I continually keep seeing is a Fool Loss is activated, and the Blue Eyes still has 3 or more disruptions without giving the opponent a single draw. Fool Loss continually being a -1. What is going on? Double Drill Beam. We have the Toad. Now, the Drill Beam states that you could reveal another card except another Drill Beam. So Drill Beam does not turn on Drill Beam. Konami did try a little bit to bounce this card, but by summoning the Toad, or the Toad being in hand, the Drill Beam is activatable. We're going to Call by the Grave, finger the Blue Eyes White Dragon. We're gonna, I mean, we know that's right there, right? That's where we're gonna just Drill Beam it. We're gonna wait for the activation just like that. We're going to threaten the Blue Eyes White Dragon with our finger, banish away the True Light trying to dodge our finger, as we then successfully finger the Blue Eyes White Dragon, thus turning off the Majesty so nothing gets destroyed. The Slime Toad is safe. And with the Slime Toad being safe, what are we left with? A dead Drill Beam, but double effect Veiler. The Veiler will be going through. It will be great. Now, the Barrel and Grave cannot recycle because there's no Blue Eyes White Dragon. By banishing the Blue Eyes White Dragon, we turned off Majesty, we stopped the Barrel from recycling, it does a lot of stuff, and now we're going into a Zeus? Are we wiping up this entire field? Yes, we are. The Drill Beam could have, so this could be good, this could be bad. We could have tricked them into using Veiler, we wanted them to use Veiler, or we should have just used this in the end phase. You tell me. We have another field wipe. If it were our only field wipe, I would say 100% a mistake. Otherwise, maybe we did this on purpose, right? You know, ideally we could have field wiped and then saved the other field wipe for their turn. So I will say it's a mistake. I think so. And there you go. The Drill Beam can now beam the Zeus because it got Veilered. Otherwise, we could have wiped the field successfully in the end phase. The top deck of Blue Eyes White Dragon with the Veiler in hand. And then what? We lose, right? Barrel doesn't trigger Engrave with the Blue Eyes in hand. It's got to be Engrave or on the field to add back the Barrel. They'd end their turn with a Veiler in hand. And now they have a Blue Eyes on field that should not be there, which has now triggered the Maiden. All of this from the very minute detail of activating Zeus within the main phase. You have to toggle on to ensure it can be activated in the end phase, and then you'd be able to wipe up the field. And someone may be thinking, just use it in their draw phase. Well, we saw the Drill Beam being turned on in the draw phase, so that would have not been a good idea. We have Barrel on summon, setting up our deck. The load, on the activation of the load, that is when we could use the Hieratic Seal to spin it back to the hand. And can it just be activated afterward to summon a Blue Eyes onto the field to then go into Hieratic Seal ourselves? No. That's it. It's in the hand. And with it being in the hand and not being activatable, it at least turns on Drill Beam. We're going to use this Drill Beam because we already have the other Drill Beam. This is okay to do. Negate and banish the Magna Hut from searching for a dragon. A big problem, though, the Blue Eyes White Dragon Engrave, enabling the Engrave Barrel. Oh, we Typhon now. Okay, 2900 to the face. Off of first Zeus into Typhon. Let's freaking do it. We have blue Sage off of the top of the deck here, the Barrel being recycled back. Drill Beam is activatable. And by negating and banishing that Barrel, we ensure that an additionally normal summoned Sage is not possible without the Mausoleum. No Link 1 play, no way. We could summon another Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck, and thankfully, or from the grave, the Link 1 cannot be summoned over Blue Eyes, but that's okay. We still have the Maiden being sent to the grave. So you may be thinking, DK, obviously, load Blue Eyes Maiden, search for Mausoleum. What is this, TCG? You'd be cheating if you did that. You can't do that. That's an illegal play. See? Can't search. You cannot activate special summon monsters for the rest of the turn after summoning a load, with the load. We did try, though. Off the top of the deck, Fua Lost, we're going to load it up, loading a Roar into our hand. We're going to Typhon spin back ourself. Was that the, okay, come forth and summon from the deck. Let's go into Spright Elf. Elf is going to be reborning the carrot as we would not be able to use Gigantic Spright. Too large. Now, there you go. At 3200 attack, our own Typhon was turning off Gigantic Spright, and we foresaw that happening. We're going to come forth and summon a blue from the deck. Blue, I choose you. Come to me, Jet. Jetting itself onto the field, searching for a Gamma Burst, boosting up the entire field by plus 1400 attack. And just like that, we are out of the duel. That is a 2-1 victory. Sprites won. Spright Prime might beat Blue Eyes White Dragon, the best deck in the game.